well. What do you know? Another episode of the Blue Bar Cage. How you guys doing?
You doing all right,
good.
man?
Good. Everybody's
Saturday
away.
morning, wrestling makes sense.
Is that a large pane of glass beside you, Kyle?
It
What
is.
that?
It's a coffee tabletop that I did some glass etching work on, trying to sell it. The
All
rest
right.
of it's in the closet over there. I bought a new coffee table.
Oh yeah, you're upgrading, right?
Yeah, doing some interior decoration.
That's fancy. That's
Old
fancy.
Bobby
Look
Burke.
at you.
Yeah.
How about you, weatherman? What's the forecast for the day?
Got some chores to do later. Weather permitting.
And those chores involve Hyrule Castle, I'm guessing.
Sure, but like they also involve like mopping and we're gonna try to get a new dresser. So
It's pretty adult.
yeah, I guess like
Do you have a layout or a look in mind when you're shopping for?
I have a price in mind.
Yeah.
Like nobody goes into our bedroom other than us, so
You don't want to create a certain type of energy with the colors and the material.
I want all the clothes that are on the floor to not be on the floor.
That's some good energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
not a sty.
Yeah.
Not a style. Yeah.
I could work on that myself.
Somebody keeps breaking into my apartment and leaving all my clothes on the floor. It's the damnedest thing.
Old jilted lovers just trying to make Kyle clean up.
All these dirty socks. It's all over the damn place.
I'm not gonna ask what happened to the socks.
Get them whites and colors mixed. You'll never do your laundry that way.
You know, one day I'll start mixing or unmixing my whites and my colors. You know,
I never saw the point to that. Like, just wash everything on cold. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's an antiquated idea.
Like they know by this point, the laundry detergent people know that we're not following that rule.
I just don't put reds in there. I don't want pink whites. You know.
Do you have any red shirts, Eddie? I feel like they're all black wrestling shirts.
A couple. Not a lot.
Or the Wolfpack shirt.
I don't have a Wolfpack shirt yet.
Don't want that spray paint to like get off and color anything else.
I most of my shirts are in the closet though. Like I have them hanging up. I don't have a dresser, but maybe I'll
back to wrestling somehow. Yeah.
That's pretty cool though. I'm glad this is Blue Bar Cage and
this is middle-aged men discussing their chores.
Blue Bar ironing rack.
Yeah.
Are you adult enough to have a dresser and use it instead of the floor yet?
I just rearranged my dresser. Like I sorted everything out. I'm very proud of it. It looks good.
I can't remember the last time I had a dresser. Well, have you watched any wrestling? Anybody watch any wrestling? Anybody watch the old?
I haven't had time. All this laundry to
do. Yeah, let's see. I've watched Dark Side of the Ring. I'm caught up as far as I know. I don't know. The last one I watched was about the Grams.
Dark Japan was this week.
Okay,
or
I haven't seen that. Haven't seen that. I watched an episode of AEW All Access.
Okay.
And then
what'd you think of that?
It was not what I was hoping for. Because at first it came across as like one of those behind the scenes documentaries like WWE Network would do, and it was kind of like that. But then they've got that reality series spin to it where they have definite storylines and they're pushing definite people. Yeah, and so it was like it became a little forced, a little too quick, and I don't really care for shows like that. So there was some stuff about it I liked, but it wasn't enough for me to like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens next.
It was very much Roads to the Top, but with different people in AEW this time, and not Cody.
Yeah, so
which is also on Max if you want to watch Roads to the Top.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was hoping for like some little more behind the scenes stuff to it, but yeah, whatever. Oh,
Yeah, basically. That and the Eddie Graham episode super depressing. Like I said last week, maybe the most depressing episode of Dark Side of the Ring.
yeah, that was pretty.
For Kyle that doesn't know, like it goes through Eddie Graham, who was like a big promoter back in the day in the territories.
Yeah, actually, just listened to a podcast that referenced Eddie Graham. It's Billy Graham's dad or something like that, or not Billy Graham, the other Graham, the wrestler Graham.
Yeah, there's several Grahams. There's and all five in the last 5 generations of the men committed sewer slide, as they say on YouTube. You can't say that word on YouTube. Oh. You get cut off.
Oh, okay.
So 5 generations of his family did. It's pretty just sad. The ends that they all came to were very similar too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt Bourne one was less depressing. It's not great.
I mean, it's what you're going to get with that series. What headspace am I in right now, and what headspace do I want to be in by the end of this?
We're all just waiting for the Marty Jannetty episode.
Oh yeah, kind of.
Well, I will say that the Magnum TA episode was actually fairly uplifting.
It was.
It's not like Magnum TA ended up blowing his brains out after all that. It's he actually made the best of the situation, and that was really nice to see episodes like that, because it doesn't happen often.
Yeah, where the person that they're actually talking about is still alive.
Yeah.
In general, should be interesting. Next episode's on JYD. I'm hoping nothing too bad there. I don't want don't sully JYD. I hope at least.
All these stones, if you turn them over just a little bit, you're going to get some awful stuff, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I was listening to a podcast, Behind the Bastards. They talk about Kissinger and all these different people, just deep dives into these people's history. And they did one on Vince McMahon. It's a 6-part series. It's pretty funny, but it's also heinous. The people who are telling the stories are funny, but then and they're and Pat Patterson, oh God, what happened with Pat Patterson? Turns out a lot. And,
yeah.
I guess at this point they're allegations, but when you've got a billionaire covering up everything and then hiring you back on 10 years later, it's all it ever will be is allegations, but sounds heinous.
That's what billionaires do, though. If we've learned anything this week, billionaires are going to do what they want, despite good advice from experts.
Did y'all hear the stories about Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg?
I heard
cage
something
fight,
about
apparently.
Fighting.
Yeah,
I will pay whatever amount of money they charge to see that
what
happen.
Is this about? What did this start over?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't follow either one of them, but I did see where apparently there is a beef, and they're willing to fight for.
They got some heat
for money.
Yeah, I saw. I don't know what's true and what's not, but because all tweets are just tweets. But what I had heard is that Dana White has inserted himself into this situation and tried to negotiate a deal with them to be we'll get a pay-per-view going. We'll charge $100 for per viewing and donate all the money. It sounds not real, but I want so badly for it to be real. I want my Roku TV screensaver to just be high-res video of both of them just catching one and just just
maybe they'll get added to the next Friday Night Fights game or whatever that is that EA puts out, the boxing game.
Oh yeah,
where you punch people and the strands of their DNA come out or whatever.
Yeah,
it looks crazy.
It could be the reboot of Celebrity Deathmatch. Only instead of claymation, they're going to use AI.
How dare you?
Yeah, Kyle's got feelings about AI.
I mean, I do and I don't, but this is a wrestling podcast, so.
The Secret Invasion whole opening was done in AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get to something a little bit more fun. I found something I didn't know existed yesterday, and I bet you guys didn't know it existed either. You're probably going to be into it. We're going to be sad that we missed it. We missed our chance. Let's see here. I hope I'm sharing sound. Let me know if I'm sharing sound.
Rock with the superstars of WCW and get ready to roll with a WCW Bowling League. Join in on a bragging opportunity. Get a cool baseball jersey and cap featuring your favorite WCW megastar, Goldberg, Sting, Big Mama Bomb, and more. And it's the next one with the join the WCW Bowling League today. Woo!
This bowling league stuff.
Yeah. What? Like, did you guys know about this? The WCW Bowling League?
No.
You weren't in our Tuesday afternoon bowling league?
I was wondering what you guys were doing. A little jealous. That's pretty cool, though. I remember they had like WCW and WWF bowling balls. I used to see them at Kmart. There was like a long series of just like, you like this thing and you like to bowl? We're gonna put on a ball for you.
Yeah.
When was the last time you've seen a bowling ball in a store?
Probably since Kmart closed down in Johnson City.
Yeah, it's like I can't say I've ever looked for one, but like I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you last time I've seen a. It was like, oh, I could just buy the bowling ball. I've seen them like in yard sales.
My dad actually bought one recently from a yard sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got his
Where
favorite
the
football
economy
team
is
on
right
a
now. Bowling balls.
bowling ball.
It's like, can I save on the lane rental if I bring my own ball?
Yeah, got to shine them up all nice. All right, here's something that I know at least Kyle was really hoping we'd talk about today. It doesn't say his name on the thing, but oh, that's what it's all about. A couple of weeks ago, when Kenny and El Vikingo had a match, they popped a pretty good rating for them, and behind the scenes, it was all overshadowed by a breakdown in communication between, you guessed it, CM Punk and AEW, which kind of took some of the attention and the shine off of the moment. Big news, guys. Big news.
What? To whom? Because like CM Punk wasn't even in like the public eye at that moment. Like
they were setting up his return, and then there was.
When you're saying the success, are you saying like behind the scenes success or something? Like that?
Well, just like anybody's attention within like AEW or Warner's attention. Apparently, Warner's has been involved in this somehow.
Is this a story?
Yeah, it's a wrestling thing, Kyle. It's not real news. It's wrestling.
I know. I mean, just how could anybody know these things?
Dave Meltzer, man, he talks to the man behind the curtain.
I mean, it's
like you have to understand, wrestling journalism has no fact checking. It is just like, I'm pretty sure my sources tell me that people were talking about CM Punk at Warner Brothers the other day.
Yeah, it's not real journalism.
Like people, like the higher ups, that kind of thing. Is that who?
Yeah, like the people.
It's so vague.
Like,
just headline doesn't tell me enough.
I mean, if you also if you watch the CM Punk opening promo, right, from Collision, he mentioned David Zasloff or whatever he called him. Calls me.
Yeah, Dave Zasloff.
Yeah, so he's which was Collision was supposedly his idea, and One Bill Phil was a reference to the reported and certainly not confirmed amount that AEW is getting paid from them for like an overall deal, including streaming that will apparently happen sooner or later, but maybe not. Like that could just be wrestling stuff, you know.
What'd you think of Collision?
I thought Collision was good. The opening promo was what I expected it to be. I didn't think it was anything like wow. I didn't think it was the greatest promo in the world or anything like that. I didn't think he went too out there with it. The counterfeit bucks thing was what you would expect from him. The "tell me when I'm telling lies" thing was a little Bobby Fish.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When he called you soft, do you think he meant SOFT or SAWFT?
I'm sure he'd be good friends with Big Cass. You know, like I'm sure they're on the.
I hope they become friends.
Spectrum.
Yeah.
They can talk about how much they love Trump.
Does he? No. Does Big Bill love Trump?
Yeah.
Big Cass didn't love Trump.
Yeah, that's precisely who liked him. That's part of his falling out at WWE amongst some of the folks out there.
He seems like a nice fellow.
He seems like a big guy.
He's a big guy.
I don't know what makes you think he's nice.
He just has a you know, he's got those dimples. I don't know.
Oh goodness!
Not ready to write everybody off just yet.
More CM Punk.
I do. Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of counterfeit Bucks lines,
CM Scuttlebutt.
CM Scuttlebutt. There was conflicting reports of whether CM Punk's counterfeit Bucks line was okay beforehand, or if it was kind of off the fly. He was, going in for himself. The Bucks, after the comment was made, I think they said something like, if this is 2018, we'd already have a counterfeit Bucks shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees, which sounds about right. They should have made one. But yeah, there you go. Going into business for himself.
You know, I feel like it's all work at this point. I think they've worked it out well enough, and they're like, there's no reason for anybody to know that we shook hands and said, yeah, that shouldn't have gone down the way it did. Let's do better. You know, nobody had to say they're sorry. They're just like, hey, we'll all work together, but we'd be stupid to not capitalize on this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that conversation has been had, and they're just going with that. Like they can method act their way into being frustrated with each other. I'm sure that's not hard.
I mean, we talked about it last week. The best issues are personal issues, like put on screen, right? In wrestling, kind of historically, I think they'd be stupid not to. I think if it is a work, then awesome. But I know, like Justin kind of argued the mindset, like who's coming off looking good here? Does this just make the fans kind of turn both sets of like camps into like tweeners? Because you see some of the reactions that Punk gets outside of Chicago. You see some of the reactions the Bucks get, like in Chicago and other places. Like it's just like you're kind of turning the fan base in on itself. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We haven't seen him back outside of Chicago, so it'll be. I think it was a good move for him to not just go out there and apologize. Like he doesn't need to apologize to me. He didn't say anything about me, and so he doesn't.
He needs to lose to Goldberg in a squash match to apologize.
I want to see him win everything. I want to see him piss everybody off. I think it'll be great, but I would love to see Goldberg.
Wouldn't you rather see like AEW fans' heads explode when Goldberg beats CM Punk in like 3 seconds?
I mean, if that just talk about Forbidden Door, if that ends up being Sting and Darby Allin's third man, I think that'd be pretty awesome.
I mean, people were arguing that they were going off the what seemed like a bald-headed person in the background. I think it's going to be a Japanese wrestler. You would imagine.
Yeah, that's kind of their flavor at the moment. But I mean, if you've got Goldberg, where do you pull the trigger on him?
I mean, you do it to set something up at Wembley. I don't know if June is a little too far out. I mean, maybe you have him spot into shows, kind of like Brock Lesnar. You don't overuse him.
When is All In? Is it September?
It's at the end of toward the end of August.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna have to do something for that. Like I imagine, talking about it a little bit here. Probably Chris Jericho and Sting, I would say. Yeah. I think that's got to be a possibility between those two. They're doing the 3-way match here at Forbidden Door, which should be cool. We've never gotten this before. I don't know that it's going to be like the greatest match in the world, but at least it's something new. All right, like how about you, David? I know you're a big Stinger fan. Like I know he saved you in many different ways.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with it. It's like, well, we never got Sting versus Undertaker, but we can get Sting versus Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
The next
Yeah.
best
Somebody
thing.
needed.
Yeah.
Didn't even get a face off in the ring. Like they've never been in a place where you could just like look at them and be like, "This is cool." No holy shit chant or anything.
They were never in the. I mean, they never even were on screen at the same time in WCW. Like, except maybe for like, when somebody died or something. Everybody comes out, but it was I mean, it's just a match that's never happened. When Jericho rose to main event status, like, Sting obviously wasn't in WWE, so just never happened.
It is one of those matches where it's like they've never wrestled before. Like they haven't. That's okay.
Which is crazy in this day and age in wrestling, though. Like where WWE, like you never had those matches of like first time ever because like they've always wrestled in like a 6-man or something else on Raw, like 5 weeks in a row. And the same thing with AEW. Like I think they blew a couple of their first time ever matches on like Dynamites with no setup. It's just like, here are these two great wrestlers. It's gonna be a cool match, but there's nothing else there. It's kind of crazy that this is the first time ever, at least. I don't know. At least they both got baseball bats, right?
They got, if they don't have a bat battle in the middle of the ring and like one bat gets broken down the middle, like it's gimmicked and it gets smacked, and he's like Chris Jericho's holding like a piece of a bat, which he can't do anything with. Then
I think they're both aluminum, though. I don't think they're swinging Louisville Sluggers.
Remember when it was like with Triple H, that other long awaited match between Sting and Triple H, where Sting hits the sledgehammer and it breaks it right down the middle, clean.
I mean, and that's the thing with that. That was a match that nobody was asking for, but it ended up being a pretty decent spectacle. Like it was a WrestleMania style match.
Yeah.
With like,
it made no sense to anything in wrestling ever, but
it
was cool to see it.
Yeah, it was cool to see. It's like you got a lot of you got your DX run in, you got your NWO run in, you got to see Sting take a Sweet Chin Music, Sting lose.
The only thing that they should have done, though, like it shouldn't have been NWO Black and White. It should have been NWO Wolfpack, like to make sense. To make sense for the overall story, because Sting's mortal enemy.
Time heals all wounds, right? After a
while,
while,
not those. He was up in the rafters for months and months. He was brooding. He was angry.
You gotta let that stuff
flat
go.
Top.
Eventually, you just gotta let the pain go.
It became one of those, Sting telling the story. He's like, "This isn't WCW versus WWE." Like the whole time building up to the match, and when the match happened, it's like, oh, actually, let's make it WCW versus WWE. Like, so everybody, like, bring in the NWO. Like, they're gonna walk to the ring. It's gonna take 15 minutes.
Yeah,
like, they're pretty cool though.
Yeah, like, none of these guys can run anymore.
Yeah.
Poor Scott at that time, like, he had to fly in like a low flying plane. It's busting ass hips. Another year, some things keep remaining the same. Bryan Danielson reportedly banged up again before Forbidden Door. Last year, if you remember, he got a concussion at Anarchy in the Arena, forced him to miss Forbidden Door and several months of wrestling, which sucked because maybe we would have gotten Okada or Zack Sabre Jr. last year with Bryan, which is, some of the matches I would say most people want to see. Not good news. Nobody's saying what banged up means. Hopefully it's not another concussion. I would imagine they would keep him out if that was the case like last year, but getting older. I don't know if this style of wrestling will allow Bryan to hold up. He's only had, I think, one match, which was Anarchy in the Arena, since his feud with MJF. That's the news.
Yeah. No, that's it's not sustainable. Apparently, obviously, like I was on Reddit the other day, and they shared that clip of the Miz chewing out Enzo, like telling him to like get his shit together and stuff like that, and just kind of shooting on him in front of everybody. And you get into the comment section, and of course they inevitably talked about his shoot on Daniel Bryan, and it just got me thinking. It's like it's like there's it's like you can either risk everything, or you can be on TV. It's like there's no both. Like so you pick one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it to the Miz there. Like he wrestles a certain wrestling style, but he also doesn't have this happen to him every year like Bryan does. Yeah. Bryan is, I think, the best technical wrestler in the world these days. If it's not him, it's probably Zack Sabre Jr. He could probably tone it down. He'd probably last a little bit longer, but I think he's just going to go as hard and fast as he can through this last contract and do what he wants to do, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully no more concussions, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched this last year. During the first year of AEW Rampage, they made a real big deal out of Fuego del Sol getting signed. He earned his contract by nearly beating Miro with a tornado DDT, because apparently Miro's weakness is his head. Good friends with Sammy Guevara, but here after they made a big deal out of that, didn't really do anything with him, kind of rotted away on Dark, and now they're just letting him go. Like seems to be the case with AEW and a lot of things. Like they'll make a big deal out of you for a second, and then you get no TV time.
And them's the breaks. I mean, if there's
not that I'm sad about it.
Well, I mean, yeah, these things happen, and he's young. If he wants to keep bouncing around, that's totally an option, and he can find that babyface heat or whatever, push somewhere and get people behind him if he's committed to good mic work and finding a storyline. I don't know.
If you hear the guy talk, I don't know that he's ever going to be good on the mic. He's got a certain accent that's hard to listen to.
I think he's kind of monotone.
Yeah, he's kind of Southern. I think he's from Texas. He's got that kind of drawl to him. It's weird.
You can make it work. I mean, somewhere, somehow.
Yeah. I mean, he made friends with Cody. Yeah, but he's too old, didn't you hear?
LA Knight? No, he's doing. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but people talking a lot about his age this week. Carlito, he's coming back. You guys excited?
That'd be cool.
I'm excited for him. Like, love his theme song. Looks about the same. Like, I bet he can still go.
I mean, he's built. He's filled out in the muscle area.
It's kind of surprising how few wrestlers are left from that kind of ruthless aggression era as legacy characters in WWE these days. So it's kind of cool to see them added back. Like, I think wrestling's built on having old stars come back and getting some sort of like energy. They don't have a lot of them these days, especially from that era for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't know what to tell you.
Carlito, he's good.
Who doesn't like him?
They should start like, just having apples in the background, just kind of teasing his return, like there's a bowl of apples.
Just randomly hear like apple biting in the background.
Yeah,
because everybody likes to hear somebody chew. Are you guys excited for this Money in the Bank? Do you have a winner that you think it's going to happen? You're hoping it's going to happen? How do you feel about Logan Paul's involvement?
I mean, it's inevitable. It's because it's something that absolutely nobody would want to see, and unfortunately, because of that gives him very high odds of winning. Because like that dude, thing. Well, it's just like the heat that he would get, would be insane. So
for winning the Money in the Bank,
for winning the Money in the Bank. I don't know if they'll actually do that, but like, because I mean, he does seem like he is a part timer. Comes in like 3 or 4 times a year. But
makes too much money on his YouTube videos and his canned energy drinks.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been a good partnership for WWE because like whenever he is on, I saw something that like kind of defending like his involvement, because there was like some sort of they looked at the views for like LA Knight's promo on Logan Paul, and it had so many hundreds of thousands of views, and then like okay, well here's Logan Paul's promo that he did. And it was in the millions, and like so he's a draw. Like he brings in people.
I've seen the opposite, that like Logan Paul's views or whatever wasn't even like half of what LA Knights did. Could be 2 different places. I don't know. It also seemed like a weird metric because like people do know Logan Paul outside of wrestling, and no one knows LA Knight outside of wrestling. Like he's not got the Rock status or Stone Cold status. But if you're in wrestling, then you love LA Knight probably because he's giving you that nostalgia tour or whatever. He's a great cover band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trying to see if I can find anything about analytics, ratings on it.
That's what we're here for. Is analytics.
I'm scrolling through. Everybody like the obsession.
The analytics, bro. I can't even say it.
The obsession with the ratings in wrestling, like in what they pull as far as like I can't see it. If either of you can find what you're looking at, let me know. Like interested in seeing it.
It was just kind of an argument saying that it's like there's a reason like WWE uses Logan Paul.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the guy's fairly athletic. It looks like he's got some like corners to stand down and whatnot, but like for being in the ring as long as he is, he's pretty impressive. I don't like the guy at all. He's easy to hate, and I don't think he's necessarily a good person or anything. But
he's very easy to hate. But yeah, you're right. He's athletic, and from whatever it's like, apparently Shawn Michaels trains him. So he's learning from the best.
There you go, Eddie.
Like,
I mean, he's trained a lot of people.
Does that didn't do it for you?
He trained.
You're like, I'm not going to be turning around. This Logan Paul guy.
He trained Bryan Danielson, so I think that's his star pupil.
Yeah, he's not a Brett guy. Seems
Lance
like all the
Cage
Brett guys.
And that other
I really
guy.
hope that CM Punk and FTR just call themselves the Brett guys.
I mean, you saw the logos of their new shirt, right?
Yeah, I mean, they are making sure that Bret Hart has nothing to be bitter about in his old age. They're like, we celebrate you, Bret.
I don't think he likes it though.
It's not enough. He's not ready.
It's not enough.
Here we go. Another Johnny, another nickname, and another guy from that Ruthless Aggression era. Only looks like he's not coming to WWE. He's coming back to All Elite Wrestling. He's going to be called Johnny TV this time.
Johnny 2D?
TV.
2D.
2D would also be cool.
Yeah. Not Johnny Rampage. It's right there.
Yeah, he's joining Rampage. But not.
I thought Rampage was going away after Collision.
No.
Is it the plan? Or they're just keeping both?
It's going to become what Sunday Night Heat was in its later years.
Which was?
Which basically it's where like some of the younger guys can get on TV. There's not going to be necessarily a lot of story wrapped up in it, and you don't necessarily have to watch it for continuity, but it's getting people ring time and TV time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like,
Collision Night 1.
Yeah, awesome. Like the ratings on Friday night are pretty pitiful anyway. For as much as that counts for anything. Cool that John Morrison's coming back. He recently beat the shit out of somebody in a boxing match.
I saw that.
Like
he hit that guy a lot.
Yeah. quite a bit.
Was it Mark Zuckerberg?
No, unfortunately. God, I want that match so bad. I want Paul Heyman involved somehow. Like I want 6 months of prep for Elon Musk. Like I don't want him going in there like completely ignorant to fighting.
I mean, he's got the reach on old Zuck.
Well, Zuckerberg knows
quite a bit
MMA.
taller.
Like he like they show. I mean, and he's fit. Like he has some like Brazilian jiu-jitsu training, so it'll probably be like a roll him up and tap him real quick match. But I don't want that. Nobody wants that. Nobody's gonna pay for that.
I'd pay to see. I'd pay to see Elon's like arm like broken or something. That'd be cool.
But he's not gonna break it. You know.
Zuckerberg, did you see what he did to the Winklevoss twins? He will break that arm.
The what?
The Winklevoss twins. Didn't you watch The Social Network?
Oh no, I didn't.
Come on, get yourself together, Kyle.
No.
Speaking of the CMFTR thing, I want. What do you think of when you see this shirt, other than Bret Hart?
That shirt.
Every time I see it, I think about those like stickers where they take the vowels out, and I just see cum farter.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Now unsee it. Now unsee it.
Can we go to an AEW show now and bring signs with like the letters CMFTR, and then when they come out, include the rest of the letters to spell out cum farter?
Absolutely. Next time we go to a show, if they're there, I'll absolutely have a cum farter sign.
Take my social tag off of this thing.
Oh man!
I
was the only one that thought that.
I was gonna say the art kind of looks like the second illustrator that came in for the Ultimate Warrior comic, not the great one.
Speaking of,
what the is Destrucity?
No. What is it, Jim?
Speaking of Warrior, I will say my favorite wrestling thing this week was the meme I sent you guys the other day.
I've got it. Hang on 1 second. I was going to share that.
Okay.
I got that. Hang on. Because it's great.
It's great.
It is worth seeing. Not for our other audience here. Let me find it. Window. Like what really puts it over though is Jake's wearing like some flippers and like half a scuba suit for something.
Yeah. Like maybe one of the most ridiculous promos I've ever seen. Or vignette, I guess. Like but yes, very topical, very specific. It's like my kind of meme.
What's more over the top, this promo or Dungeon of Doom stuff?
I mean, it's on par with Dungeon of Doom. It is Jake wearing his like Tommy Bahama shirt, trying to act like he's like possessed by the devil. Like
I mean, at times I think Jake may have been possessed by a devil.
Yeah, like well, it's
or
like
his demons,
insinuating that he had like supernatural power. Like it's like that, and then paired with Warrior being a complete moron. It is like, I mean, it's very much like those old vignettes are very much like parables. Like, you know, I don't believe you're supposed to like take them like literally, but the way they're presented very literal. You know, like the whole gist of that promo is to establish, do not trust Jake the Snake. Like he is a snake after all. Like, and they just take a very long time getting to that.
What do you think?
They found point B, and they were like, "Let's just go along."
Yeah,
Really, from Family Circus route to get to it.
I wish Blake was here because this would be a perfect promo showdown. But what do you think the Ultimate Warriors promo would be like about the Ocean Gate Titan?
Quick.
Like probably that he would imploded himself.
Grab the Xbox controller from the pilot.
Not even the Logitech controller.
Yeah,
that's your first cue.
I like how they kept calling it like PS3 controller and stuff in the news. I'm like,
if only.
Come on, that's
if only.
Don't do that to Sony. Like,
it's like
you're putting your name in the news.
Sony's gonna sue for libel.
Just Mad Cats is like keeping their head down. That's where I come up.
That is a weird thing. It's like not to deviate, but it just it kind of it's kind of nice seeing that people deal with situations like that with like a little bit of levity. Something we have absolutely no control over, but like we can laugh about it. Like I can only hope that when I die, there's something funny about it. Like
I'm very sympathetic to that kid who didn't want to be on it, but like his dad kind of got him to go because of Father's Day. Other than that, my sympathies for like rich idiots. They're just not where they need to be for this kind of story.
It's not even that. It's more of like you died doing something incredible. Like, trying to. It's like you lived a good enough life, like for one reason or another, that you had the opportunity to take a submarine like to the bottom of the ocean. Like, not a lot of people get to do that. Of course, there are risks.
What's funny is that they had the money to take a good submarine down.
Yeah, they could have made their own good submarine. Something that got certified.
I keep thinking you could take the same amount of money and just send an unmanned drone down every time, and then just put people in like a movie ride kind of thing, and they'd not know the difference. You just like 40x motion seats or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, we're there." Like, nice.
Just make them shit in front of each other to like.
The Titanic claims a couple more billionaires. What can you do? I think he's boring. At least that's the way I felt about it last week, and I still do. I don't know that a heel turn would help old Jungle Boy Jack. How do you feel about him, Kyle? Do you care? Is he exciting? Do you think a heel turn would make him any more palatable?
I like what he brings to the table, but he obviously, I think he needs more time and more mic time and everything, and anything to revitalize somebody's, just to refresh your perspective on somebody. That's what wrestling's all about. Like, everything that happened this year, we can look at and be like, if you'd have told me like a year ago that these people and this stuff, but it's all just toys. It's like a dad rolling up on his kids with like, if you'd have told me that Darth Vader and the Ninja Turtles were going to team up, I'd have told you were crazy. Like, it's just toys. Did somebody play with it? Probably some IDW spinoff or something, but or Mirage Comics. But like,
Darth does like killing kids, so I guess they're technically kids still, right?
We can split hairs if we want to, but if we're talking about Jungle Boy Jack Perry, yeah, sure. If he's, I wonder what his name would be though. The heel version of Jungle Boy, would he be
Jack?
Just Jack. Yeah. I think he needs to lean into the Perry dynasty. What if he comes out just like full 90210,
wearing like a leather jacket and it's got a pompadour?
Yeah, like he played like a funny heel, like you're supposed to hate him, but you love, like, exactly what he's doing. He's just kind of doing a tribute
he's just
to
a
his
90s,
dad.
A 90s TV bad boy,
Love him and leave him, Lothario. Just a cool cat. Like, he's just so cool. Like, all you can think is, damn, Jack Perry's kind of cool.
Like, get him some like 90210 music, or at least license the 90210 music for his intro. You got to take away the.
If they get Elton John Saturday Night, I mean, they can get that song. Isn't there some sort of? There's got to be some network television thing between the two of them. I don't know if it was that ABC, NBC. I don't know.
It was Fox, I thought.
It's Fox. Well, crap.
90210.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. But then they had the revival that was on the CW, I think. Like
They get a
where
Mikey
had,
Ruckus sound-alike thing. Probably.
I'm sure he does a good job at that. Like
I'm just
really
booking this myself. I really want 90210 Jack Perry now.
I think that'd be an interesting kind of villain or character in wrestling.
Jack
like
0210.
a 90s bad boy.
Just comes out there and he tells all the women that they can't change him. Like, no matter how hard they try.
Then he sulks in the corner in his leather jacket.
Yeah. Yeah.
White
Do a
t-shirt.
season or two with that. And then he just gets all that like sympathy for, like he is a bad boy, but he's got, some pain.
But he's artistic. Like, he just needs an outlet.
Yeah. Maybe he ends up slowly pulling what's her name from the House of Black? I can't remember her name.
Julia Hart.
Oh,
Julia Hart.
Hatch.
Yeah. Like he brings her like not into the light because they're both on the dark side, but like they can't be together, so they have like a forbidden love thing. Or Anna Jay, I guess he and Anna Jay are kind of together, so that wouldn't be,
Yeah.
Well, that's
he needs a forbidden love, and I think that would bring him back into the light.
He's not a woman with a man.
No, that's
Don't
true.
Don't try to change him.
There is rumor. There is rumor.
I want this now. I really do.
There is rumor that Jack did have a dalliance with a certain married woman of another wrestler who considers himself an indie god while they were married. Yeah. And when confronted with that, he just told the guy, "Yeah, I did it. You can decipher that yourself."
I mean, it can't all be true, but I want Jack Perry to turn heel now. I'm into it.
So, CM Punk's first pay-per-view match is not going to be Kenta at Forbidden Door, and they're starting the Owen Hart tournament this year at Forbidden Door. Rumor has it that Kenta is the one that turned it down, so he didn't want to wrestle him for whatever reason. I think that would have been the more interesting match. So instead, it's Kojima, and this tournament just looks kind of pitiful. I think you can tell who the finale is going to be anyway. Like, I think you'll have a great match between Roddy and Joe, and Dustin Rhodes and Powerhouse Hobbs. I think Powerhouse is going to win. I think that's pretty obvious. Then Juice Robinson and Ricky Starks. It's just like, this is a very small, awful bracket, I kind of think.
Yeah. Owen Reed.
What? Who do you think is going to be the finale of this? I think it's kind of obvious.
CM Punk and Juice Robinson?
No.
No?
I think you're going to get Powerhouse or Ricky.
Really?
I feel like it's
they're on one side. CM Punk's going to go to the final. But
yeah, it's going to be CM Punk or it's going to be Powerhouse and Ricky against them. I'm gonna guess Ricky. I think he's finally going to get his push.
I would like to see Dustin Rhodes win it, just to give him something. He wasn't happy. Like, he says he's happy in AEW, but and we'll probably talk about it more here in a minute. But like, he's at the tail end of his career. Like, he deserves something. Like, even if it is a weird like Owen Hart belt, like that's like created out of spite. Like, I
don't think it was created out of spite.
It's created out of spite.
Well, at least on at least
if it involves the Hart family, there's a healthy amount of spite to go around. So
yeah.
I think to get Owen Hart's name, like to keep it in the wrestling world and not have like that memory kind of fade, I think that's the only way it was going to happen, because his wife's not going to have anything to do with Vince
because of
or WWE.
It should be
because
a slammy.
they helped kill her husband. I think that's good spite.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like if you had a heart attack and died, would Kim stop eating at McDonald's?
I mean, if I ate at McDonald's enough to like contribute to that.
You do.
No, I mean, I'm just saying. It's like I don't know. It's that is a weird situation because like maybe like obviously something terrible happened for him to fall and die, but like I don't know how much they were to blame for that. Like,
I mean, you
I
can
think
watch
it's
the
the
dark
amount
side.
of negligence.
I've seen it.
Just like the continuation of the show.
Well, that's kind of a
That's the wrestling business, unfortunately.
that's wrestling business. Yeah, like it would have to be like there would have to be a danger to the audience, like for the show to stop, and that's also kind of uncharted territory too. It's like I don't think they knew what to do other than just like let's let's try to move past it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and it was back then too when wrestling had a different mentality, and I think wrestlers had a different mentality about finishing the match no matter what, finishing the show no matter what. So would Owen have wanted them to continue? Maybe in the old wrestlers' mentality, I don't know.
It's like your job. It's like your job is still to like entertain. Like it's like okay, well now we need to get these people's minds off what they just saw. So like let's go throw Triple H and Rock out there. Like it's a tough call. Like it really is. Like I never found that distasteful. Like it was.
I mean, we also didn't find out that he had died for sure until later on the broadcast.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was probably more or less when it happened. But yeah,
but it's it's a weird thing. Uncharted territory for them, obviously. Fortunately, like it doesn't happen very often.
I think the negligence here, though, was the rigging and the guy that was used and everything. The rigging wasn't even, I think, graded for what they were using it for, and yeah. But as we learned last week, Sting had the best rigging guy. He had done that out of helicopters in Nam, did it for the best Hollywood had to offer, and Sting himself is a Hollywood big shot.
Yep.
Speaking of big shots, Jeff Hardy was written off TV this week, got beaten up a little bit because he's not allowed to get into Canada due to some legal issues. So they beat him up, and yeah, you can't drive, can't get in, anything.
Like
that is interesting.
Yeah, if you have a DUI in America, like Canada will not let you in.
Yeah, because I was just watching the promo from last night. I'm not sure I finished it, but with the Usos, and they're talking about Money in the Bank going to the UK. I guess you can get into the UK with a DUI.
Yeah,
multiple DUIs, but
yeah.
But apparently not Canada. Like that just is strange.
Yeah, and they're going to be there for a while.
Yeah, no, it's that's a Canadian thing. It's like we don't. It's like if we can draw the line on the people we allow into the country, this is it. Like,
but it sounds like Jeff Hardy's doing well. It sounds like he's taking it seriously for as long as he, wants to go.
Yeah, it's like, hopefully. It's like a hard thing to watch.
It does seem like at this point, those guys, I mean, maybe we'll get to it here in a second, but like, you just want them to go out relatively on a positive note. But like, how long are you going to chance this, Yeah. It's like a good combo in Tony Hawk, like how long are you going to stay on that rail? You're going to kill the whole thing. Just jump off. You're in the millions.
How long are you going to hold that manual?
Yeah. You always want to push it, but you're doing that, the bar is going all over the place.
Oh Jesus.
Like Goldfinger is about to end.
All right, we got a couple more here. Tony and his never-ending hope to be bigger than Vince McMahon. Apparently the Khan family has interest in Bellator MMA, which, as you know, WWE back at WrestleMania weekend got purchased by the same company that owns UFC. It'd be interesting if he owned the direct competitor to UFC, and yeah. Even though I guess this is wrestling as a family business at this point, since WWE no longer is.
They've been billionaires longer than the McMahons have been billionaires, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think I'm not sure how many billion Vince has at this point. Like, if it's just one or multiple. I know he kind of vacillated between being a billionaire and like a millionaire.
Yeah. It's just that it is interesting to see where, you know, the advantages are in this pseudo war that's going on
of gimmicked and non-gimmicked fighting.
Yeah. Well, and just personalities too. You got Tony Khan, who like seemingly is a bit of like the opposite, thankfully, type of person than Vince McMahon is. Not shrewd necessarily, maybe shrewd to some degree, but like not an outright piece of shit.
We hope.
You hope.
And you know, they're both sons of they were both born into some sort of type of wealth or a way to get there. Although I will say that Shad Khan's mustache kicks Vince McMahon's mustache just ass. Look at that thing.
That is a power stash right there.
It's pretty sweet. I don't really watch Bellator. I don't watch UFC. I don't find it interesting, but
there's no billionaires fighting on it. But by God, that'll be whoever gets the Zuck Musk fight wins the whole thing.
I think loser should have to take the Ocean Gate 2 down to the Titanic. Oh, and final thing.
Dales has some opinions.
Dales does not like that idea.
Jesus.
He's like, hate the rich.
Get your thought on this. The lost art in wrestling. Wrestling legend Ricky Morton says it's lost. It's the art of selling and selling well. How do you feel about this in modern wrestling? I feel like this is probably true. It's a lot of spot to spot.
Is this a new argument?
No, it's just something he said.
It's somebody other than Jim Cornette saying it.
Yeah.
Somebody that hasn't scorched earth over every relationship in the wrestling business.
I would agree with him. I mean, wrestling is different now, for better or worse. Like, but at the same time, it's like I don't know if today's viewer has the patience. Wrestling had to change. I mean, WWE's changed. Like, I was actually reading something about this the other day. It was like, this mentality is like trying to get old fans back. It's like those fans are not coming back. Like they're gone. It's like you have to cater to today's audience. So you just have to adapt. Like
exactly, and I think that's the point that Jim Cornette and folks of his ilk don't get. I think you can still, like, a lot of the things that he talks about that work and worked. Like there's still a thing that I think you can apply to today's wrestling, but you can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to like what people want to see in the business now. Wrestling is always changing, for better or worse when it comes to the in-ring product, I think.
To what you personally like. Like it's I mean there's still room for this type of wrestling. Like it hasn't gone away completely. Something I would like to see is for it not to be treated ironically or intentionally, like FTR, like I think FTR are fantastic wrestlers. I was like, but do we need to mention that they're a nostalgia act like every 15 minutes? It's like, no. It's like just let them do their thing. Like they need to stop saying it. Really, like
basically,
they need to stop fighting for Bret Hart's love.
Yeah.
I love pro wrestling, my family, and CM Punk.
I like I like FTR, and
me too.
I don't hate CM Punk necessarily. I just I want the next thing. I want the page to turn on all that.
Like they've got a good blend of that old school style and the modern, but then like they still have that modern sensibility to it. Like it works. It's just like don't stop acting like a nostalgia act. Like, or stop telling us you're nostalgic. Just be who you are. Do remind us this is a product of a bygone era. Like, we don't need to know that.
Yeah, make what was old new again. Like,
exactly.
I think you can get like that old style gimmick over by just being that gimmick and without like mentioning that's what you are, like you said.
I think we've gone into a place where like storyline really matters now again, and it's been a long time since we had that. Where you've got, I mean, maybe guys who look a lot different than the wrestlers back then, but they can go on the mic. Not just the Bloodline people, even though I think they are well in first place, but just seeing like anytime Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston are in front of each other, like I feel like that to me is like second place of just the best storyline. Like anytime you want to start this back up again and they just have this like real dynamic of like one feels disrespected by the other one, you know, they sense the platform.
And a lot of that's Kingston too. Like the emotion and grudges.
He gets in there with anybody who he actually cares about. It becomes a moment, and it's lovely. Like their little conversation out of nowhere on Wednesday was beautiful. I loved it.
And I love how Eddie Kingston, across all platforms, across all years that he's been a wrestler, continuously will hold a grudge, kayfabe grudge against anybody. Like he hates Claudio. He hates Claudio more than anything, and it's hilarious.
I think he actually hates Claudio too. I think that's just he probably just doesn't even remember why at this point. He's just like, I hate him.
He doesn't trust anybody. I'm looking forward to that. I'm glad that Eddie Kingston's joining that match with the Elite against the BCC. Like you said, I think anytime you get those guys together, you've got something special going on. Speaking of something special, we're here in 2023, and some of these wrestlers are getting a little long in the tooth. So we thought David thought it'd be a great idea to talk about 10 wrestlers who will retire in 2023. David.
Yeah, the way you said it, you implied that nobody else did think it was a good idea,
or that you wrote the article, or that
you
work for What Culture now,
David.
Can we do this in British accents? We don't have to.
Weren't you in the back of one of their videos during WrestleMania? Wasn't that the group?
I was for a brief second. I was like, "Oh, look, it's Adam Wilborn from What Culture," and they're just outside of the SoFi Stadium. So I'm just standing there doing that, and then then I walked away. I did try at that point to get the big meaty men slapping meat chant going because I chickened out during the actual show.
You did.
I did. No, I was way too scared. I'm not going to embarrass myself in front of those people. But then outside, had a drink in me. I was like, let's go. And then it didn't work. I was like, all right, I give up. I tried. I put it out there. Anyway, it's not about me. We're talking about wrestling.
My priorities after that was to grab another one's hot dogs.
Yeah.
Slap that meat.
Oh goodness! So, David, why don't you lead us off here?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I thought this would be kind of interesting to talk about because we do, as you mentioned, it's like we don't have a lot of wrestlers left from that era, but we're getting to the point where we're having, it's like you mentioned, like Carlito. Like Carlito is an old guy coming back, which is weird for me to think about. Like, we've got a couple guys left from the Attitude Era, from like the Monday Night Wars, like a couple of dudes who are still wrestling in the 80s, like, but they don't have much in them. At some point, they're gonna have to quit. I thought it'd be cool to kind of talk about that. So, I googled wrestlers who will retire soon. This is what came up, and it's a pretty good touch point here. First one we can talk about is Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn is apparently 59 years old. Not the oldest guy we'll talk about, but he is
in good shape still.
He's in great shape for his age.
He's only 51. Oh, 59.
59. Yeah.
Like He didn't get the droopy tits that some of the wrestlers get eventually, like Ric Flair. You know what I mean? Like Chris Jericho, where like his chest is separating, whatever's happening there in that region. Like he still looks, he's a little charred from all the tanning and stuff, but pretty great shape.
Yeah, he is, and like
treat your leather right, it'll last.
Treat
your leather right into the last. That sounds like a weird Motley Crue song.
It'll do you good. Yeah, it'll treat you right, I guess.
But I mean, as far as I can tell, it's like he's been kind of resigned to just multi-tag matches. He comes out and does a spot, and he can do that for so long. But yeah, I'd say he's gonna be wrapping it up here soon. I don't know if it's this year or not, but
it's crazy. Out of all the guys that were in DX, that he right now is probably the most over one with like the current wrestling audience than anybody.
Sure.
It's nice he's having this little run. He does do like singles matches every now and then, but it's not like nothing big, nothing marquee. I think he's in a good spot where he's at. Really kind of working the templative New Age Outlaws gimmick onto the Acclaimed has really worked out for them and what they're doing. Got them over this past year, but not much sense. I eventually, I bet he probably turns on the Acclaim back for his sons. You would have to think, or at least have some sort of a bigger feud with one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think his sons will be the ones that retire him. Which is we'll talk about this here in a little bit again, but like that's something we don't see very often. Is like a generational feud like that. Like so. They should take that opportunity. They've obviously learned. You can tell that they've learned a lot from him. They have that sense of humor.
They're getting to a point where they're starting to get over. Seems like.
Oh yeah,
their good intro, their presentation. That presentation is killer with the rotating.
I'm like, how can you blow two water spurts out of your mouth? I'm very impressed with that. Just that alone,
Yeah,
you only do one. I didn't even see the water bottle.
Like it looks really cool. I liked when like their theme song is badass. Their normal theme song when they came out to the 50 Cent song for their title match where they lost was also really, really good. I hope they join Bullet Club Gold. It makes sense, guns. Put them in there.
The Golden Guns.
Do something with that faction and roll with it. I think Jay White would be the perfect guy to be the leader of that faction, along with Juice Robinson, who cuts a promo style that you don't see too often these days. I really am enjoying Old Tiny Face.
Old Tiny Face.
He does. His face is too tiny for his head.
A small face.
He's got a small face, and he's married to Tony Storm.
Who are we talking about? Juice Robinson?
Yeah, married to Tony Storm.
He's got a regular size. I think just the outside structure is just larger. I think the internals are normal.
It looks like somebody shrunk it, Photoshop shrunk him, like that one.
Who are we?
John Cena meme.
Who are we, Eddie, to cast aspersions on a man pretty enough to marry Tony Storm? He's pretty enough,
But apparently, or he's got something else going for him.
He's got a real good heart.
Some great airbrush pants.
Yeah. That's what the ladies like.
Indeed. I think there should be more airbrushed gear in wrestling. That's something that's missing in the old days.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
All right, next on your list, David.
I feel I must have. Next on the list was Dustin Rhodes. As we mentioned earlier, he's going to be in that Owen Hart tournament. I would like to see them. Yeah, I feel like ever since they did the Dustin Cody match, I haven't heard anything from Dustin Rhodes, other than I support whatever my brother does. Whenever he left,
he's in the Owen tournament, right?
Yeah, he is in the Owen tournament. Yeah. So I would like to. And he doesn't have very long. He's one of those guys that are up there with Jake the Snake, with Mr. Perfect, with Razor, guys those intercontinental guys that should have been world title guys. He's right up there with that. So and he'll never have that at this point. So I would like to see something good for him happen. Because he is. He's still in pretty good shape, but I mean, he's old, so.
Yeah, he's running his own wrestling school now in Texas. It looks like he's had a couple feuds here and there in AEW. Nothing like really big since the Cody thing. He's been most recently teaming with Keith Lee as Keith's gone through his feud with Swerve Strickland. But yeah, I would like to see some sort of accolade, give him his flowers in some way on AEW programming. He deserves it.
He does, and I mean, honestly, it's like if that doesn't happen, like I would want him to come back to WWE for one final run, and let him retire that way.
That'd be cool.
I wouldn't mind if they could do it, and like WWE would agree to it. If he came back for like just one run against Cody, with Cody having the title, I think that could be something real special.
Yeah,
would he be Goldust?
Yeah, he would have to be.
Yeah.
He could do Goldust, or he could just do the natural gimmick. I mean, he's kind of half natural, half Goldust right now in his current form.
Literally,
yeah. Literally.
Yeah, no, like he's one of those guys, like Attitude Era guys. Even prior to Attitude Era, he's been around forever, and he has always been a guy to go out there and do the job. Goldust was very ahead of its time. He got huge reactions, like
Scott
his
big fan.
Yeah, I mean, it was like so. Yeah, it was. But yeah, hopefully they'll do something nice for him.
It was a wild time to be a wrestling fan. Like his Marilyn Manson Goldust phase with Luna Vachon.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that hasn't been erased from the WWE network on Peacock.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
The dude was wearing a ball gag to the ring.
He was.
Women's underwear. I mean, guy was so committed to this character that he reportedly wanted to get breast implants at one point.
Yeah.
You can get those out.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the Drew Carey show, and I think one of them got the breast implants.
Yeah. Now, I was thinking about it. It's like, can I pull it off?
I mean, would you like what amount of money would you get breast implants for?
I don't know. It's like
popular amount of money this week, $250K. They're going to pay for you to get them and have them removed, but you got to keep them for a year.
For a year?
A year.
Yeah, a year. You got to walk around with set of tits for $250K for a year.
I just don't think that's enough. No.
I
mean, this would be public knowledge too, right?
I mean, they're going to see your boobs. Whether
who's they?
You tell them you get the money or not.
Like
people in the world that see you when you got your
people don't care about me.
Well, what
you're
if
walking around Burbank with your tits out?
Okay, it's like you have,
which is different from how I don't know.
You're gonna get $250,000 for that. How much could I make from OnlyFans in the meantime?
That's up to you. I'm sure somebody has that kink.
You're trying to. I mean, it's a good way to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have it in me to capitalize. I feel like I would just try to shrug it off.
You can't shrug off that.
You can wear a big coat. You can wear a big coat. And
yeah, I mean, Kyle, these things are going to be massive.
Okay,
they're going to be like
wheelbarrow them in.
Yeah.
You're not going to get like an A cup. I'm talking about these.
Can't hide these things.
Yeah, these are big. Like
these are undeniable.
Can't go to the gym without getting looks. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get sports bras. Like
you could just you could set people up to make them go do that whole thing where go to the gym, you set your camera up, and anytime somebody glances your way, you call them out.
The amount of selfie lights I've seen people walk in to the gym these days is it's disheartening. But yeah.
It's like set up a freaking security camera. Like,
Yeah, you can't film people at the gym. I don't know. I feel like I could probably like empty that gym out just by doing that, and then just waiting for the response. And then
you just got your sports bra on, pair of yoga pants. You just walk in there, all confident.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm doing like a bench press or something, would they explode? Like how? Like,
ask Charlotte Flair, man.
Oh, come on now. We're being nice here.
She had both of hers explode.
I don't want to get into that.
250K is not enough for you.
Not enough, no.
How about you, David? You do it? You do it for 250K? Plus resids from money from OnlyFans.
I can make all the money I want, like tricking myself out.
Yeah.
You're not gonna open up a pop-up restaurant, little food truck dragging these tits over a hot stove?
Yeah, I can just get a job at Hooters. Like,
yeah, you get charged $5 a squeeze or something, you know. Like, yeah, have you ever grabbed a man boob before, like a real one?
Yeah,
$5.
But it's not a real one.
I mean, it's as real as it can get.
Yeah.
All right, 250K is not enough for Kyle to have some boobies.
I'm glad.
Who's the next wrestler on our
this
list?
This show is going.
Thank you, Dustin Rhodes. Like,
he's committed.
Yeah, he was.
Making us ask the real questions here.
Maybe that'll be his final run. Like,
the unnatural Dustin Rhodes.
There we go. I like a good wordplay.
I'd be way into that.
All right, moving on. Speaking of fake boobs, another wrestler who will probably retire soon is Edge. He has hinted at it pretty heavily that I think there's some sort of pay-per-view in Canada that they're doing this year that he hinted maybe his last match. As we know, we saw his last match however many years. Yeah. He came back, he got injured immediately, he was gone again, and then now he's back and he's still doing his thing. Like, he's obviously like a lot slower, and what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, I think he's had a good run though. Like, I've enjoyed the majority of his matches. It's cool to see him rekindle things with Randy Orton. I wish Randy was well enough for him and Edge to have a final one and kind of just call it what it is. If not, that last one, even though it wasn't in front of a bunch of fans, unfortunately, like I think it was a pretty good one. I think the question is, like, I think it does seem like this is his last year, at least in WWE, even contractually. I would also wonder if there's a chance for him, and many other folks have speculated, including Matt Hardy, that he would maybe do something outside of WWE wrestling-wise, wrestle a few guys that he hasn't had the chance, and including maybe fully ending his career with a match against Christian.
That would be cool. Like, that would be the way you'd like to see him go out. But it's also, I would like to see him go out in WWE, just simply because he would get that stage. It's like nothing against AEW, and we'll talk about why it's good for somebody retiring AEW as well. But like, his career was in WWE. Like, I would like to see that. He deserves a WrestleMania, like, or something like, proper send off.
I hope he gets it. I think either way, we're in for at least a few more good matches from Edge, and I'm glad he didn't have to end it at WrestleMania 27, even though that makes, I guess, what happened there a little bit less cool, because that was not the best WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also like, we're also like not considering like how few wrestlers actually get to pick their final match. Some of the greatest of all time, they didn't know it was their final match till several years later. Like, it's like, ooh, can't do that again. So
and then sometimes Vince McMahon picks it for you, Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
What a troll! What a troll!
That was whatever. Like, he might just have another match. Yeah, moving on from that, our next, both the Hardy Boys, they, they're back together again. Their runs as the Hardy Boys get shorter and shorter and shorter for various reasons. They are both showing their age. Those are two guys who've just like beat their bodies all to hell.
Matt especially, like he walks around like it's tough to just see him walk around and move. He's so stiff in like the back and hip area. Apparently, like an inch or so shorter, a couple inches shorter from doing all those like top rope leg drops all these years.
The way he just like throws his arm out, but doing the delete, it's a little rough.
Yeah,
it's hard to watch.
Like, if they were to retire as the Hardy Boys together, I think AEW is the right place for that. They are one group that like they prove that they can have success anywhere, and they have like so I think why not why not retire with where they're currently at? It's like they don't need to come back to WWE and like job out. Like they can there'd be enough prestige in them retiring in AEW. Like they've already got
their whole, they definitely do it gracefully.
They could. Like there's more relevance to the Hardy Boys in AEW right now than there is WWE. So
for sure, and I think they've got more interesting feuds to have if they're going to go out and have a good solid tag team run. The best tag teams, in my opinion, in the world are in AEW right now. Outside of like New Day and the Usos, like you got the best like pure tag teams in the world. And so I mean I want to see FTR versus the Hardys. I want to see the Elite, the Young Bucks versus the Hardys. I want to see all those matches you can have. United Empire now, since those guys are coming in. There's lots of cool stuff they can do. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So both of them need a break. Like they're old.
And that's the good thing, at least with Jeff going out for rehab and stuff. He's been off for the majority of the past like year, almost year and a half. Hasn't done too much. Hasn't put any mileage on his body that way. So hopefully he can get to a healthy spot here, not wrestling for a couple months in Canada, or I think it's a month and a half almost, and come back and have that run. But I think out of all the ones you've mentioned here, that's probably the one that needs to happen the most, because those guys just. At one point, you're going to start tarnishing your legacy by just being botch machines.
Yeah.
Well, he already kind of did that by getting tossed off of a catwalk thing or whatever the actuator, whatever that would be, a forklift, whatever it is.
Like
concrete.
Matt Hardy. When Sammy Guevara almost killed him for like the second or third time.
Threw him off I think they're both kind of responsible for that one. If you choose to go over onto a table that's on concrete, I don't know. You have to take a little bit of the blame there.
Oh, for sure. And then that bump that Jeff took on those chairs almost immediately with Darby Allin when he signed with the AEW, that was painful looking.
Yeah. I'd be curious. I know we got this list. Who do y'all think, just like, who would y'all guess would be most likely to retire this year?
Out of who we've discussed, or just in general?
Anybody.
Oh. Personally, I would say Sting. And that's based solely on age. But it is. I think he's done everything he needs to do at this point. I guess except for like a match with Chris Jericho.
That's kind of what I want to talk about then. Is like maybe people that aren't on this list that we think maybe should be on the list of folks that will retire. I've got one in mind. My dark horse candidate for retirement. But who's next on this list? There, David.
Next on the list is Randy Orton. And this will be unfortunately, I feel like this will be one of those you don't get to pick your last match situations. He's been injured for quite some time, and there's no sign of him coming back. So he may be done.
There was rumors around, I think, WrestleMania that like the back injury's bad, and the doctors are telling him it's time. Like, I don't know if it's one of those situations where maybe, he retires for a few years and can come back. I don't even know if Randy Orton. I'm not even sure how old he is. How old is he at this point?
He's got to be.
And is it worth it?
40. He's 43. So
43,
I don't know.
Well,
if
he's kind of
for a few years would be okay.
according to Steve Austin, like your mid 40s should be your prime, like for pro wrestling.
Interesting.
He considers that like he's like if you're a lifer, he's like that last part of your career should be the best part of your career because you know how to do everything. So. And to be fair, it's like I feel like Randy Orton has only improved. Like he always puts on a good match. Like he's gotten more nuanced like throughout the years. Like you can tell he's willing to work with anybody, put anybody over. So like he really is like that. And he's also one of the guys in the running to break like Ric Flair's record. Like. So if he's gone, that really only leaves one other person. Yeah, which we can talk about next. He's also somebody who could be retiring. I don't think he'll retire full time.
I think he'll do spots. He'll do spots where he can. I know Cody asked him for a match recently when they kind of crossed paths at the WWE show, and he said, "I don't know how many more I have in me." So, maybe sooner rather than later, but I feel like he'll come back for spot shows at WrestleMania or wherever. I think eventually, though, you got to get to that where he's either going to win it maybe or he does retire. Like he's going to break that record, retire. I was really hoping we'd get like him versus Triple H for breaking the record or him versus Randy for breaking the record, but
yeah,
doesn't look like we're going to get either of those.
Right. Yeah. No, it's yeah, I don't see him like. I think he's kind of learned from like what didn't work for The Rock. When Rock was gone, Rock was gone. I think Cena he's still going to show up when he's needed, at least for the next foreseeable future. But it's going to be small and smaller. Like he clearly didn't. I mean, he opened WrestleMania. Like he didn't have a huge part of it. Like, I think the WrestleMania before that he wasn't even there. So. I know he wants to see the company in a good place. So I think he'll show up if he's needed until he can't.
He will, and I think he still has something to offer. He can still get guys over, and I think he's, or he can kind of bury guys. I'm not sure if his match against Theory helped Theory at all. I think Theory might have gotten buried a little bit at the lead into that just because he's not as good as he thinks he is, and John Cena – again, he knows exactly what he's doing at this point, and he's seen everything and done everything.
Yeah, that's what Cena has to offer too. He is a good, he's an excellent coach. Like, and he'll do it on camera.
Yeah.
It's like whenever that last little feud he had with Reigns, and Reigns flubbed his line, and Cena's like, "It's a promo." He's like, "Learn how to do one." And like you can just see like Reigns' face. He's like, like
called him out on his unzipped pants.
yeah. Like so it's that is something he's like, yeah, he has that to offer. Kind of the same way that the Miz, like they've been around long enough where they can coach, and hopefully they'll continue to do something like that.
Yeah.
But still has you can still offer something, and I think spot matches in wrestling are still valuable. I mean, look at after all these years, Goldberg is still not retired, and he doesn't. He still never really learned how to wrestle, but he's still an attraction. He still pulls.
Why would you need to? What part of his career has ever made him think he should learn how to wrestle other than that Saudi match? He made a shitload of money, even though he almost killed. He almost
killed the Undertaker. The time he ended.
Still probably got that paycheck.
Bret Hart's career.
Yeah, there's that thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you put it up like that, though, it's like anybody who's been around that long, it's like they have probably injured somebody at some point.
Bret Hart, according to Bret Hart, he's never injured a person in the ring.
Yeah, like and maybe he hasn't, but a lot of people have. Like accidents happen.
Receipts happen.
Yeah.
That's why it'll be CMFTR against Goldberg. They'll be getting vengeance for Bret.
Yeah. All right. This next one here is like we just kind of talked about him with Sting. He has definitely proved his point. I feel like he has proved everybody wrong. On top of that, so he deserves to be the first big AEW retirement.
Do you think would do it?
Probably Darby, I would assume. Or Chris Jericho, I guess.
That's kind of what I'm wondering. You would think you would want to do it in like the biggest stage of them all, right? For them, which would be All In at Wembley. But I don't know. I think he might go a little bit past that. I think there's a couple feuds you can do, but I would like to see one last actual wrestling match from him. I'm not sure if he could have that with Darby, or if he just end up getting slammed around.
Yeah, that's also a thing too. That it's like it would have to be if he was doing a one-on-one, it would have to be like a cinematic match. I think similar to what Undertaker did. You can, Sting has worked in AEW because of all the smoke and mirrors they let him pull. He's an old man. He can't move very fast anymore. He can still jump. He can still take a couple bumps and stuff like that. But he's old. There's only so much you can do. So it's for him to get a proper send off, it would have to be those smoke and mirrors would have to be involved. Still. So
he's only done one of those since he's been in AEW, which is kind of crazy too. As far as cinematic matches go, he did that one real cinematic match. And yeah, it's smoke and mirrors and just keeping him limited to the spots. He does that one. He'll jump off over the tunnel spot onto a bunch of people, or he'll take a table bump, which I still think is impressive at his age. To take a table bump and then no sell the shit out of it and just get back up.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of weird. It's you think about Flair retiring. Flair at the end of his career, even Flair could still go somehow. His I'll count his retirement match against HBK as his last match, and that was still an impressive performance. For somebody Flair was the exception. I think
that's part of it too. Is the dance partner? Mm-hmm. I think Sting could be, if you had the right dance partner for him, and I don't know who that is in AEW. Probably would have been Cody if he wasn't gone. That would have been really interesting.
Sure. Yeah.
Could have walked him through it. Could have supported him through it, and I think they could have had a killer match. But I'm not sure who that is. Maybe it'll be Sting and Goldberg.
That would be.
You never know.
That would be a match.
That doesn't need to happen.
Yeah.
I'll tune in. I'll be in it for it.
Oh, I mean, we'll all tune in.
Yeah. No, it's like they can say what they want about Goldberg, but he is a draw. If they brought him in, they would do really big numbers.
I agree.
Okay, the next one we have on the list, somebody who's been around as long as Sting, almost Rey Mysterio. I feel like Ray's due for retirement. I think I honestly thought that the match we were going to see at Mania was going to be his retirement.
Yeah, same.
But if anybody here's your opportunity to have his son retire him. This would be the chance for Dominic to turn face, come back and respect the legacy and kind of thing.
It does seem though, the fact that he stayed around I mean, it seems like the story is building, and it's helping the LWO people. It's helping Dom to stay, a heel that's actually generating boos and everything.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, like Ray is still very relevant. Like, it's really nice to see that he is getting. He is a guy who has been jobbed out to people for years, but it's fine. Like, it does actually kind of fit his character. It's like he is the ultimate underdog. So it is like it's special when Rey Mysterio wins. Like, it's not like it's like because you're always rooting for him, but like he just, he's a little guy. He's a little guy. Like,
and he used to be way smaller.
He used to be way smaller.
He bulked up there at one point, and he's only 48. I was going back to the Steve Austin comment you mentioned earlier. Like, he's only 48, so I still think he's got some gas left in the tank. But I think ending it, if he ends it, it should be at a WrestleMania. I don't think it'll be this year. Maybe next year at 40. That's a good milestone.
Yeah.
Year for wrestling, and I would love to. If you're going to turn Dominique face, that'd be a cool story. Like, do it and have him carry on the legacy of some sort of Mysterio mask. I think that'd be kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe have the mullet stick out the back.
It's like he doesn't know what he's got till it's gone, kind of thing. Like, so yeah, no, it's like I want, again, this is like fantasy booking, like best case scenario for these guys we've watched our whole lives. Like, it's like you want them all to have that nice like final moment.
So a lot of them rarely get it too, but I think Ray deserves it. He's been there for a while, and just to imagine where he came from, like, came from WCW, getting spiked into a trailer outside, being world champion at WrestleMania in a pretty special moment. Like, no, I don't think anybody would have expected that trajectory, or for WWE to push a guy that size that much either. It's kind of surprising.
Well, he's somebody he's defied the odds. Like, I mean, even in WCW, he rose up and became a heavy, world champion contender. Like, he never won it in WCW, but he became a legit threat. Like, once, like, even like Nash was even to take a pin for him. Like, so he was always there. It was just like just had to find the right time, and he did get it finally. So
yeah,
which makes me happy. All right, and then let's see. Moving on, another one potentially to retire, Brock Lesnar, which would be I don't see it exactly. Like, he works. He works when he wants to work, and that's never going to change. Like, he'll like, I could see him at one point deciding he's done, and that could be soon, but like maybe not this year. He makes too much money. Like,
he doesn't have to do too much either.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
It seems like he's having fun these days. Like, he just that babyface run was real interesting. I think it's a side of Brock that you never really got to see in wrestling.
Yeah,
it looked like he was just being a big redneck, having the time of his life, and seems to be having fun feuding with Cody for the most part these days. Like, I think he can be around as long as he wants to be around. He's always going to look freakishly scary.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's like it doesn't matter how many losses he takes. Like, at this point, like, he's still Brock Lesnar. Yeah. Like, he can still. It's like it just takes one match for him to go out there and squash somebody, to kind of reset that loss counter, and like, sure enough, they'll do it. Like, they've always got somebody that they'll feed him, should he need to. And but yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like it is nice seeing him enjoying, really seeing him enjoying what he's doing. Like, just to kind of remind you that he is not. That he's a pro wrestler, like, and seeing the kind of influence he has, and like how well he's willing to work with other people. Honestly, it's like, speaking of Goldberg, what really changed my mind about Brock Lesnar was like allowing Goldberg to go in there and squash him, like, to set up that feud. Like, as crazy as much of a shock as that was,
the way he sold it too, like the spear, the jackhammer, everything, like, it was great.
Yeah, it was. Really was. It's like, I was like, whoa, like, because that was a shock. Like, that, as like they had the audacity to let Goldberg do that, like this day and age, like but then yeah, you know, like but really it was just like the Brock was willing to do that. Like Brock was willing to do business like that. Like so it said a lot about him as a, you know, he is a professional, despite how upset he gets and like trashes the ring and stuff like that. It is all part of the show.
I thought he was really mad.
I mean, you'd believe it. Last person on this list is CM Punk. I could see him retiring just because he can't stay healthy. I mean, he just came back. This was obviously before he came back, but like,
Yeah.
He who knows? Like, he doesn't seem like he. If it happens, it happens. So I imagine if he had to retire in ring, he would still be around in some capacity, but time will tell.
Like, what will break first, his spirit or his body? I think it's his body. Like, he got hurt from stage diving like an idiot into the crowd, broke his foot. And then he has that squash match on Dynamite where he loses the title to Mox. And then they have the match at All Out. And tears the tricep right off the bone. I don't know many more he's got left in him. Like, honestly, a Collision, I was expecting like Joe to give him one of those chops and it just to implode his chest at this point. The guy seems fairly fragile.
It's like his back just like snaps. Like,
yeah, you know, and CM Punk calls people soft. I think his bones are soft or brittle.
Yeah. He's
That's how I feel.
Like he looked like a guy who'd been like riding his bike or something. Like you know, clearly he doesn't lift or anything anymore. Like if he does, it's like he needs like that last, you know, when he came back to AEW, it was like he's gonna hurt somebody, like trying to do a go to sleep. You need to at least have the strength to like take care of somebody else if you're wrestling, like
or trying to do the buckshot lariat twice.
Yeah, like
a couple notes from Logan Paul, best buckshot lariat in the game.
Nah.
I mean, when that dude gets in the air, he does look good. Like there's no arguing that. Like yeah, we'll see if CM Punk retires. Either way, I don't care. Like
if he does go out, for him, because I don't think he's going to get the last match that he wants. I don't think he's necessarily going to get to go out on his own terms. Do you think he's going to get hurt, or do you think it's going to be his mouth that ends this? Like, you know, reports from Dave Meltzer this week that a lot of people in AEW still aren't happy. A lot of them still believe he was the reason for Colt Cabana's exile, and this is based on like company information and not anything from the Bucks. I feel like it's a ticking time bomb because nothing was resolved between arguing parties. If it isn't work,
I think it'll be an injury if he goes out. Like if it's his mouth, I honestly I see him going back to WWE. Like because they would be willing to pay him a ton of money for that.
Yeah.
And he would take it. Like, and he would do it. He would almost do it out of spite. Like, so I wouldn't.
Would WWE job him, or would they treat him a little bit like Cody?
They'd probably treat him like Cody. I think. Like, they would give him a favorable contract. Like, but yeah, it'll be an injury.
I don't buy into the Dave Meltzer stuff really at all. I mean, there's too many other conflicting arguments, and I think it's just at this point it gets played up more than it really is. I think it is not a big deal ultimately, and to the point, you know, like they're conceivably building a whole show around having CM Punk on there, or at least that's the running narrative that like
he was a Dynamite.
This is a roster, a team of people who will now work with Punk, and he's over here. I don't think his mouth will be too damning. I don't think it's an issue anyway, necessarily. I think it is what it is. And like they've already proven that they want to spend the money on him. So it'll probably come down to him getting hurt, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not too, I don't care enough.
Who made this decision that I meet the criteria for meaty where Kyle does not?
You just saw that?
I just now saw that.
Yeah,
Because
it's been noted the whole time for like an hour.
Yeah,
Kyle talked about how he was a coward and didn't get the.
I didn't say coward.
Coward. I didn't hear that either.
Whatever you said. I'm just.
You're talking about getting.
And then David talked about how he just wanted to get out of there and get a hot dog. So you're a meaty man. Kyle's not a meaty man.
Oh, okay. I thought this was in reference to breast implants.
I didn't know we were taking shots at each other here.
David's like, I'd take the money and put them tits on. Kyle's like, nope.
Yeah.
Take that bag, man. Take that bag. Okay, so we went through this list. Who are some folks, or maybe person that's not on this list that you think might retire this year or within the next 12 calendar months?
I mean, you still have Jericho. Jericho's at the end of his rope. Like, he's he can still perform, but it's like not nearly at the same level like it used to be. Like, which is to be expected. It's no disrespect to him. He still has a lot to offer. Like, he's still sharp as ever on the mic.
I think he needs to reboot that character already. Like the Jericho Appreciation Society, I think, had promise. But now it's more than run its course, and I don't think it's doing anything for anybody in the faction, including Jericho at this point.
Yeah. You got AJ Styles. He's getting up there. It doesn't seem like he can stay healthy for too long anymore either.
My guess, I think surprise ending. Probably doesn't want to, but I think Bryan Danielson here in the next 12 months might be him. That would be mine. I hope he gets to do what he wants. Hope he gets to wrestle the guys he wants to and stuff. But it seems like it's just a recurring thing for him. Just he wants to wrestle this style, but I don't know that his body's going to allow him to anymore.
Yeah.
How about you, Kyle? You giving positive affirmations as your headline now?
I mean, I'm not going to call myself a coward. My God, below the belt there.
Coward with a K, maybe?
Shit. Let this guy. Let that go. Who do I think will retire? Fuck you, Dave. I don't know, man. Like, there's the obvious ones, and then there's always that one person who you think like just does not wrestle in a sustainable fashion. And so I think Darby Allin is on that chopping block a little bit. I think he's. You
think in this year?
If not this year, then before long, I think something's going to happen with him where he is going to be forced into an early retirement and maybe come back several years later. But I don't know. Like, I think about him, I think about Kenny Omega, and I think about names are just escaping me. The British guy that Kenny Omega's fighting.
Will
Ospreay, yeah. They both had their medical issues throughout the years with their spine and everything. And it seems like they're in a better place now, but I don't know how long like that's really going to last. And I feel like Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, maybe they just for their own sake would probably be good for them to hang it up eventually before in the next couple of years. Like, they've got nothing else to prove. If they don't want to go to WWE, I don't know.
Will doesn't want to. I don't know. Like, we'll see what happens with the Bucks. And
I'd love it if Kenny Omega and the Bucks, whatever,
Yeah,
but all of them
go. I would like to see Omega do at least one run at WWE. Like, I think that's and I kind of think it's something that he kind of wants. Like,
if anybody deserves it in AEW, I think it's Kenny Omega. I think he's primed for that position. Like, I think
anywhere he goes to, the Bucks go. Like, I don't think those guys are going to do anything separately.
Yeah, maybe. I think he would fit in a lot better than the Bucks would. I feel like the Bucks would be in a position where they've got to really bring a storyline, bring some kind of like feeling to their shows.
I don't know that Vince.
I feel like they'd end up on NXT, to be honest with you, like a little bit. They get on NXT just to learn from Sean.
that
I
would
mean,
be
they
funny.
probably wouldn't hate that.
Like, yeah, watching that AEW All Access, they kind of talk about how it's like they formed AEW because this was a place for anybody who didn't fit the mold of AEW or of WWE, and like I kind of looked at it as like it's like they're all just kind of ugly. Like that's the one thing they have in common. They're just like ugly people. Like the Bucks are hard to look at. Like they're like more corny looking than the Hardys. Like
their parents are like big born again Christian folks too.
This should be our next episode. We just rate all the male wrestlers 1 to 10. I give them LA numbers too. I'll give them the LA numbers. You guys give them the East Coast numbers.
I was gonna let you pick the next show, Kyle, but I don't know if that's gonna be it.
That's it. We're circling. We're gonna bring the diagram up and circle all the parts of them we need to change. Sorority sister style.
Is this like weird science but with wrestlers?
No, it's other cultural references that we're touching on. Anyway, probably not going to do that. It's a joke.
All right.
I wanted to do an episode where we design our own ring. That's what I wanted to do.
Design our own ring.
Design your own ring gimmick.
Like a type of match.
Just you've got the War Games ring. You've got the TNA ring, 6-sided ring. Like, how would you redesign a wrestling ring, either for a gimmick or like a new promotion? And like someone tasks you, I tasked you with it, and your livelihood is on the line. What would you do to change the ring?
Ring tycoon instead of roller coaster tycoon.
It'd be one of those I'll go first kind of things, but no, I don't know.
Yeah, is this? Are you asking? You want an opportunity to show off your 3D modeling?
Yes, I do.
To make us all look like trash. Like
guys, I'm gonna build it out. We're gonna like do a fly through. High res rendering and everything.
Just you telling us why ours looks like crap? Like
there's gonna be angled trampolines like at the trampoline place.
Is this like the Spirit Squad ring?
I think it'd be great. I think it'd be amazing.
Yeah, like
a couple rope swings and everything. Why don't we have ropes?
Probably good reason for that. I want like a scaffolding match again is what I want. Like I want some like gimmick matches that like we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get it. Maybe that'll be an AEW.
It's an idea.
Darby dies. Jim Cornette comes back and breaks both ankles again. What can you do? Well, lots of retirements. Kyle, you keep brainstorming. Next week we'll have something fun. I thought your insight.
My idea got nixed. Okay. All right.
I don't know.
I got bad ideas and I'm a coward. I hear what you're saying.
No, Kyle, I think you did a really good job explaining.
What the is Destrucity?
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, and I think
that was all projecting. I was just speaking for myself.
I think you dug deeper into the warrior psyche than most of Dare to Venture.
You read one psych book and then you think you know everything.
Watched one episode of Dr. Phil. I know everything.
Yeah.
Oh, well, here we are at the end of another episode of Bluebird Cage. You guys got any final words for the people?
No.
No, nothing for the weather, No warm front coming in.
I was trying to think of something to retire to, but I'll be working until I'm 80, so like fuck anybody else.
Retired to your 40-something chores or 30-something chores.
You work in the entertainment industry. Getting a 401k is a little hard to come by, so I might just die before I retire. This is a fun note to end on.
Yeah,
not today. I'm not gonna,
Eddie Graham episode here.
Not today. I do think it's. I will say. Speaking of wrestling, I don't know if you can. I don't know unless you can get anything going with WWE. It's really hard to call a pay-per-view Forbidden Door because it's all just internet wrestling community terminology. I'm going to spend money on it. I'm going to watch it with some friends, but like it will be underwhelming until they get any kind of connection with WWE, and Mercedes Moné would have been it. Unfortunately, she's injured.
Apparently there was talks between them before that happened too. So you probably would have seen her at either Forbidden Door or possibly Wembley. Still might get Wembley, I would say.
Maybe. I don't know how she.
If they ever get to do it with WWE, the logo will change from what they have now to like the big red door before you fight Bowser in Super Mario World. Yeah, it'll be something like that.
Yeah.
We'll see if it ever happens. I mean, in the end, WWE is, I think they've learned their lesson where they maybe gave WCW too much attention last time and gave them legitimacy. They don't even really say AEW. They may allude to it. Why would they do it? Like it's only doing what AEW wants and it's giving them legitimacy. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, we had the Forbidden Door in WWE when the Impact Women's Champion Mickie James was in the Rumble, I guess. But anyway, I'm your host, Medium Daddy Cool. For your other host, the Weatherman, and just Kyle. Saying, remember, there will come a time when you believe everything is finished. That will be the beginning. See ya.
To contact us, search for and like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BlueBardCage, or send us an email at bluebardcage@gmail.com.